One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Wow. All right. It is a big day for the Trump administration. Let's go, everybody. Much love, honor, respect to all of you legends up in the building. Much appreciated for you guys being here. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be here with me, man. I very much appreciate you guys. We got a good one this beautiful morning. We got Pam Bondi, confirmation hearing for Attorney General. We're about to get into the live hearing of that. But before we do, make sure you guys hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely. And it's free, by the way. And if you guys are brand new to the show, what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. I very much appreciate that. Also, please consider becoming a member starting only at $2.99 a month, man. Helps out the show immensely. And listen, not only do you support me, but it also, you get exclusive little, Breakfast Club members only live streams where I kind of hate to say it, but the truth is we get to be, completely uncensored over there compared to how we are here. Like when I'm streaming to the general public, I can't just completely, and even on members only live, you still have to know what you can and cannot say on YouTube, the platform. But you guys definitely get a lot more of my thinking, processes, and you guys think the way I think, and you guys get to, I break down like whether it's like relationships, politics, geopolitics, it doesn't matter. We do it all over there. So make sure you guys consider it. Also, listen, man, every super chat, every super sticker, everything that helps out the show donation wise, of course, is going to be shouted out, gifted memberships and stuff and membership signups. But if you guys would like to help out the show right here, these are going to be scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I'll be, shouting out your comment as well and your money amount that you guys send in. So, but that skips the brutal 30% YouTube cut. You know what I mean? And last but not least, man, make sure you follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only myself, but of the show, Millennial Food Time. We get down like a motherfucker over there. And like I've been saying recently, because it is very true, it's been like this for years, is this is actually better than my phone number most times. You know what I mean? Like this is where I correspond with everybody. Also, if you guys, little side note, if you guys are into Discord or anything like that, we have the Discord in the description of this video right now. You guys can click it and join on up. We got Brother Wolfheim up in the building with the 27 Swedish crowns, by the way, saying have some jazz tobacco. Hey, listen, man. If you're gonna force me, to do it, then See, Junkyard knows the deal. He knows the deal. Man, you guys missed out a little bit yesterday. We had a little bit of a drinking morning and not really. Only a couple of beers, and of course, our left-handed tobacco. It's always the best of the best over here. And I like the way Wolfheim says it, some jazz tobacco. This sounds suspicious as all fuck, but hey, man, hey, that's a great way to put it. We got Papa Penguin saying we're all thinking similar to a football bat. It's weird and don't match, but it sure is entertaining to watch. Get a membership and join in the debauchery. Yeah, that's... I very much appreciate you, Papa Penguin. Thank you for your endless support and contributions to the show, man. Carney, good to see you as well as Brother Junkyard. Evil Rick up in the building. I very much appreciate you guys. We got Gunpowder Nitro as well as Tiffany. Brother Shadow, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this beautiful morning. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, though. So we're going to go ahead and get into it and see what is happening on the other side. We're going to go ahead and actually, believe it or not, skip ahead, which I already have done for you guys. There was a lot of dead air. And not only that, there was like Senator rambling for like the first two. I don't know. I would say the first two speakers were just two senators rambling, and they didn't say anything. And I listened to it, and I was like, no, this is bullshit. Let's just skip ahead. So we're going to go ahead right when Pam Bondi is coming up to the podium, or to the stand, whatever. And she's going to make her not only testimony, but but she's also going to do her oath and everything right here, right now. Let's go and get into it. What's up? Are we not men?
Would you please raise
Brother
your
Steve
right
Easy?
hand and answer this question? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give to this committee
Good morning, Redneck Side. Good to see you up in here.
will be the
Good morning.
truth,
We just
the
started
whole
up.
truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please be seated and move ahead with your opening statement.
I'm surprised he didn't say for the record. She did say answer in the affirmative. That's the way they always speak inside anything regarding not only courthouse but mainly hearings and shit like that. All right, this is a big deal.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, and members of the Senate.
And if you guys are unaware, so Pam Bondi is the current Attorney General in Florida, just so everybody knows. I believe that she was also a prosecutor, I believe. So, I mean, they're going to clear that up for you guys in these questions, obviously. But yeah, all right, back to this.
Judiciary Committee. I've had the opportunity to meet with almost all of you, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm grateful to President Trump and to this committee.
I think a lot
for
of us
your
are.
Consideration to be the 87th Attorney General of the United States. I would not be here without my family. And if you can bear with me for just a moment, a lot of them have made a very long
shit.
trip.
Is that shit tonight? That's got to be, what time is that happening? Shadow, you're going to have to let me know. Because I have the Diamond Effect at 7 p.m. my time, CST. Now, I'm totally cool going on if it's earlier. You know what I mean? But just let me know what time it is that they go on.
And I wrote them all down so I don't forget anyone. My beautiful mother, who I wouldn't be here.
Perfect. Let me set my alarm for
Kindergarten
that.
teacher, would not be here without my mom. As of a week ago, it was 12 years since we lost my dad to leukemia. Feels like 12 days. My amazing husband, John.
Okay, alarm set.
And his two incredible girls, Collins and Finley. Collins is a senior at University of Florida. And I think all of you on this committee will be very happy to know Finley is in security. There's a third who is traveling abroad. I wish she could be here.
Look at that media fucking lineup right there. Underneath the fucking senators and shit. Oh yeah, it's thick.
My amazing father-in-law, David. My sister, Beth. My brother-in-law is home with my niece.
Right on, Shadow.
My
Appreciate
nephews, if you could just raise your hand, Evan, Jake, and soon-to-be niece, Savannah. My brother, Brad, a brilliant lawyer. My sister-in-law, Tandy, and my nephews, Justin, who just got a 4.0 at UVA. Rex,
that. That was definitely not
great
me.
college tennis player. Brad, great tennis player. Is Rhea here?
Tennis.
And my niece, my beautiful niece, Rhea. And the little guy is in school because he's 10. My friends, Leslie, Kathy, Dina, Tiffany, Kim, Paula.
What's up,
and
Steve?
So
Good to
many
see you,
of my
man. Good
former
morning.
coworkers. And Ranking Member Durbin, if you want to get dirt on me, these women have known me since I was a child. Seriously, most of them. So thank you for indulging me in that. They've all made a very long trip to be here. And thank you for holding.
You know what's so funny is I knew somebody in the close, proximity of the Breakfast Club, like the beginner, the OGs of the crew. I knew someone was going to say some shit. And I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
my hearing as well.
That shit's
and
funny.
not postponing it. I appreciate that. Thank you all. From the moment I interned at the state attorney's office in Tampa, Florida, all I wanted to do was be a prosecutor. The Supreme Court certified me, and I had 4 jury trials while still in law school. Lost most of them, but had 4 jury trials and never wanted to do anything else. I continued my career there, trying everything from DUIs, domestic violence cases, capital murder cases, the whole gamut. I became a lead trial attorney in courtroom every day, trying career criminals, was deputy chief of a division, and then ultimately was felony bureau chief, and eventually left to become
Yeah, exactly. I've been on trial a time or 5. Yeah.
Florida's 37th Attorney General for the state of Florida. Nothing has impacted my career more than my experience as a state prosecutor, because I got to know and still keep in touch with many victims and their families from when I was a prosecutor. Upon
So
becoming
she was a prosecutor.
attorney-
That's what I thought, but I wasn't 1,000% sure. All right.
General in 2011, I proudly served for 2 terms. I was term limited. I would probably still be there right now had I not been kicked out of office by term limits. I loved
It's
being
true.
Attorney General. I did my best to keep Florida safe, to continue to stand up for victims of crime, and to fight the opioid crisis and the drug crisis that was not only facing Florida.
Yeah,
but
you
this
can definitely tell by the way that she's speaking as well how this woman's sophisticated. She definitely has that nomenclature. She's not only got the proper nomenclature for the job, in general. You need to anything in like attorney general, all this shit. You have to be a politician. You know what I mean? And a lot of those, look, it just like Papa said, it's going to be really hard to find her unqualified. And you're right. You're right. Now, are there's going to be emotions that, that you might feel? Sure. Absolutely. But saying you can't sit here and say this woman's not qualified. I mean, Attorney General for Florida, was anyways until term limits or whatever. But crazy.
Entire country. Out of the top 100,
Another war
this is
gorilla, my
one of the
man.
things I'm the most proud of.
Good morning.
Oxycodone dispensers in the entire country, I believe it was 98 of them, 90 or 98 of them lived in Florida.
Good morning, Tots. Good
We
morning.
fought
Good afternoon.
for tough legislation. Kids were dropping dead every day. We fought for tough legislation. And after that legislation, none of those opioid dealers, doctors, practiced in Florida. We fought to eliminate human trafficking by raising awareness and prevention and talking to
Brother
parents
Dwayne.
and talking to children.
Good morning, man.
We also provided critical resources, including safe houses, that my state was lacking. On the civil side, we worked to protect consumers.
Oh yeah, if the federal attorney general needs to be involved in these big Fed cases, absolutely.
We tackled everything, including off-label prescription marketing, which affects, as you know.
But she has
Many-
different. She as attorney general, there's a lot of different things that encompasses the attorney general.
Many people who can't afford.
What's up, Aaron?
prescriptions as
Good
well.
morning, sir.
We partnered
you.
with states' attorneys general from both parties and federal agencies across administrations. We went after price gougers during hurricanes. If confirmed as the next Attorney General of the United States, my overriding objective will be to return the Department of Justice to its core mission of keeping Americans safe and vigorously prosecuting criminals. And that includes getting back to basics, gangs, drugs, terrorists, cartels, our border, and our foreign adversaries.
Shit.
That is what the American people expect, and that is what they deserve from the Department of Justice. If confirmed, I will do everything in my power, and it will be my great responsibility to make America safe again.
Super well
Making
spoken.
America safe again also requires reducing recidivism. We have to fix the Bureau of Prisons, and I am looking on both sides of the aisle. The Bureau has suffered from years of mismanagement, lack of funding, and low morale. I was proud to support President
fuck the
Trump's
feds.
First Step Act. I think more can be implemented and more can be done on that front. President Trump's leadership on criminal justice reform has demonstrated what is possible when a president is unafraid to do things that have been deemed to be too difficult. We have to reach across the aisle and get solutions for all of these problems.
Brother AU, good morning.
Like the president, I
Big
believe
morning
we are
today.
on the cusp of a new golden age where the Department of Justice can and will do better.
Hey, I'm sorry to hear
if
that,
I am
Warland.
confirmed.
Brother Straight Jacket, good morning, kind sir.
Lastly, and most importantly, if confirmed, I will fight every day to restore confidence and integrity to the Department of Justice and each of its components. The partisanship, the weaponization will be gone. America will have one tier of justice for all. In all this work, I'll collaborate closely with this committee. I will work with all of you.
Hey, Papa Penguin, you're going to be very stoked when it gets to the question part. She does answer some shit like that. So wait for it.
As I've committed to do when I met with almost all of you. And I will partner not only with the federal agencies, but with the state and local officials throughout our great country. I look forward to answering your questions today and working together for this country and our Constitution. Thank you, Senator.
Well done. All right, question part now.
I will ask first questions, and Senator Durbin, and then I'll call on the Democrat people the way that Senator Durbin would,
Democrat people.
say so on their arrival or here by seniority, in the same way that on the House side.
What's up, Hardwire? Good morning, kind
I'll
sir.
make sure that I don't abuse the
Always good to
7
see you.
minutes. I want you to have your attention on this binder that I put up here. It gets to a key factor of each senator's role in oversight. It contains 144 oversight letters that I sent to the Biden-Harris Justice Department and its component agencies, with many of those letters in there to the FBI. Adding letters to the Inspector General, that would be about 165 letters. So I've sent more letters since you've been in my office before Christmas. Should you be confirmed, 144 letters will be your responsibility. The responses I have received so far fall in 2 categories. First, they weren't answered at all. Second, I received a response, but it didn't fully respond.
Good morning, Pablo, by the way. Man, all you legends are pouring in.
Said another way, the Justice Department merely sent me words on a piece of paper. So, should you be confirmed, you'll have an obligation to respond even to the minority and consider a letter from
Dude,
them,
this cat right now.
even if my signature's not on it, as
Let me put it.
they want
There you go.
information. Will you commit to responding to my oversight requests
Can't get
as
up there.
well as the requests of other members of the committee?
Chairman,
Pick it up
either
there.
I or my top staff will personally review the letters and do everything we can to respond to you.
Now stop it.
Your tenure as Florida Attorney General was impressive. You fought against pill mills, human trafficking. You eliminated a backlog of rape test kits in state labs. You fought against.
That's exactly what it is, though. They've got to get their airtime too. You know what I mean? That's why you're going to hear a lot of other senators that, to me, it's like, why even fucking be involved? You know what I mean? Like you're not, straight up. We got Wolfheim up in here saying, you look a bit thirsty. Have a beer. You know what? I may just have one. You know, I was thinking about, should I have a beer this morning? I go, nah, that'd be, you know, I've done a couple morning drinking live streams, but we're listening to this and I don't know, depending on how long this is going to be, which I don't think it's extremely long or anything like that, but I do have a soda. I got me a Coke. All right, back to this. I appreciate you, Wolfheim, by the way, for the 27 Swedish crowns. I always appreciate you, kind sir. Now I'm thinking about I have to grab a beer because of this comment.
Known to stand for law and order with such achievements.
It's one nice fucking kitty right there.
It's easy to see why the people of Florida re-elected you in 2014 and why President-elect Trump nominated you to serve as the nation's chief law enforcement officer. So this gives you a chance to tell us on this committee and the people of this country what you're proud of is your record as Attorney General of Florida.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley. I was truly honored to serve the people of the state of Florida for 8 years, but it was a team effort. I had great people around me, many of whom
dude,
were
this dude, Mr. Grassley, man, he looks like he is 98 fucking years old. Jesus Christ.
Room today. And we did a lot. We did a lot to fight crime, and I've been reminiscing a lot since I was asked to take this nomination. Opioids, as I talked about,
Brother
were a top
Todd,
priority right
good morning.
when I took office. When I was running for office, I went through the entire state of Florida. Parents were walking up to me, handing me pictures of their children who were deceased from opioid abuse. After I was elected, I took those pictures and I framed.
Just White coming in hot with the 5 gifted, by the way. Holy shit. Let me see if it went out to you guys, because I can't tell from my side. It fucking did. Big W. Hell yeah, Jess. Thank you so much for that. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. All 5 went out too. That's what I like to see right there. It looks like we're getting some YouTube love
To them.
You know, that they're allowing when people send in money to fucking disperse it. Like, that's crazy that it wouldn't. Well, hopefully now that issue will be fixed.
Office as a goal of stopping that fight, which I talked about in my opening statement. And if U.S. Attorney General, I'll bring those pictures back out and they will be there to inspire me on the further drug abuse
Whoa,
we're
are you
facing throughout
serious?
this country.
She just dropped another 5. I thought I was seeing double. I was like, oh, wait, like, let me scroll down. I'm like, oh shit, she did it again. Wow. Holy shit. Good morning to you. Wow. I very much appreciate that. 10. Shit. Did it go out to you guys? Did it go? It did. So they all dispersed. That's not what I'm talking about. What's up, Mount High? Good to see you, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a good one, as well as Brother Bob, who really believes people were handing her pictures of their kids. I don't know. Make sure you guys hit that like button, man. I very much appreciate that. And by the way, yes, we got our left-handed tobacco, and it's enough for all around. That's for damn sure. We definitely got plenty. Foster's has been confirmed to contain kangaroo's piss. Are you serious right now? Or are you capping? Shit. Brother Dwayne, I very much appreciate you for being in here, by the way, and hanging out with us. Brother Gary. And another fucking 5. Yo, what the fuck is happening right now? What is happening right now? And they went out. That's 15. Holy fucking shit, Jess. Thank you immensely for that. That's very kind of you. Holy shit. She just helped out 15 of you guys, and not only helps me, it helps you guys in the Breakfast Club as well. Like, that's totally fucking selfless. Thank you for that. Shit.
We also learned that something else was happening. Pregnant women were having babies as a result of being opioid dependent. We call it neonatal abstinence syndrome. We fought to educate mothers. We fought that issue as well. Fentanyl was wreaking havoc in our country, but it was just getting started. I actually fought my own party a bit on scheduling fentanyl because at that time people thought it was something you merely got in the hospital on a patch after surgery. Apples and oranges, and boy, do we all know that now, the difference. Fentanyl is raging throughout our country, and I will do everything I can to fight that with the agencies that fall under the Department of Justice.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a super hard thing to fight against. I mean, that's a border issue at this moment, but yeah, fentanyl, man, that's a terrible fucking thing I mean, we thought heroin was fucking bad when that shit hit the street, right? And then we find out that's like a 1/100th of the ordeal compared to like fucking fentanyl.
Human trafficking became a top priority for me as Attorney General. I had the opportunity on a bipartisan trip to go to Mexico. And the one thing I found out there, they were doing better than we were. They had safe houses. I saw things I never dreamed I would see. And all of these things in my past have formed the person I am right now, sitting here before you.
Good job,
I
Beezer.
came back to Florida. We started a human trafficking council, and we partnered with others, and we expanded and added safe houses in the state of Florida. I don't know how many are in this country right now, but I would like to partner with both sides, if confirmed, to continue those efforts.
I'd like to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
I'd
Yeah.
like to interrupt you. You know, me and my 98-year-old ass. I want to interrupt you.
And go to another
Shit.
question. And I'll have another round so you can finish on that point. I'd like to ask you about something that's central to fighting government waste and fraud, the False Claims Act. I want you to know that Attorney General Garland calls me once a year. He called me yesterday to tell me the success of the False Claims Act since 1986.
Hell yeah, brother Steve. And I got some great plans for today. Eat some amazing food, drink some amazing drinks, and bro, I'm getting down on the PS5 today. You know what I mean? Sorry about it. Sorry about it. I'm fucking them up. I only got to play yesterday evening. I played for like 2-3 hours or something like that, but I felt great doing that. Now I'm going to go ahead and just veg out today after we go out to eat, get some drinks going, hang out with the family, shit like that. But then of course I'm playing, dog.
Signed it. It's brought in $78 billion as of yesterday, his report. $2.9 billion for the year of 2024. Most of that's because of patriotic whistleblowers who found the fraud and brought
What's up, Angelic View? Good morning.
at their own risk. The Supreme Court has long upheld the law's constitutionality, but I want you to know your view. Is the False Claims Act constitutional? Before you answer that, one time in the 1990s, one of the attorney generals said it wasn't constitutional, and when that same person by the name of Barr was back 5 years ago to be attorney general, he said it was constitutional. So if confirmed, will you commit? Well, answer that first question. Do you think it's constitutional? Would you defend the constitutionality of it?
Of course.
I would defend the constitutionality, of course, of the False Claims Act, Senator.
Last question. If confirmed, would you commit to continuing DOJ's defense of the constitutionality of it? And will you assure the entire staff and funding levels to properly support and prosecute false claim cases?
Cat.
Senator, the False Claims Act is so important, and especially by what you said with whistleblowers as well, and the protection and the money it brings back to our country. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your answers, Senator Durbin.
All
Thank
right,
you, Senator
next.
Grassley. Ms. Bondi, if you're successful in your nomination, this Democrat would like to give you 3 words of advice. Answer Grassley's letters. You'll never hear the end of it if you don't.
Yikes.
At
That's
issue,
cringe.
I believe, in this nomination hearing is not your competence nor your experience. At issue is your ability to say no. More than any other cabinet official, the Attorney General has to be prepared to put the Constitution first
Oh, you're headed to
and
Boston
even tell
tonight.
the President of the United
Shit.
States you're wrong. The political danger and personal costs of such a decision are well documented. You have only to ask former Attorney General Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr.
It's her name, Jesse White. I think that she has it like Jesse White 19 something. Like there's like a number in there, but I'm sure there. Jess, put your link in the channel in the to your channel in the chat real quick, so that people know what you're
and
talking
Donald
about,
Trump sacked
so they
for
can
lack
join
of
too.
loyalty. And so I have 3 basic questions I'd like to ask you. Most Americans believe that central to the peaceful transition
Stop.
of power in a democracy is the acceptance of the results of an election. To my knowledge, Donald Trump has never acknowledged the legal results of the 2020 election. Are you prepared to say today under oath without reservation
There you
that
go.
Donald Trump lost the presidential contest to Joe Biden in 2020?
Ranking Member Durbin, President Biden is the President of the United States. He was duly sworn in, and he is the President of the United States. There was a peaceful transition of power.
Here we go.
President Trump left office and was overwhelmingly elected in 2024.
Do you have any doubts that Joe Biden had the majority of votes, electoral votes necessary to be elected president in 2020?
You know, Senator, all I can tell you as a prosecutor is from my firsthand experience. And I accept the results. I accept, of course, that Joe Biden is president of the United States. But what I can tell you is what I saw
This damn
firsthand
cat.
when I went to
Well,
Pennsylvania
fine.
as an advocate for the campaign. I was an advocate for the campaign.
That cat is just, you guys, if you guys played the drinking game of how many times this cat's going to hop on my fucking lap, you guys would be drunk in like 30 minutes. Wolfheim, I very much appreciate that. 27 Swedish crowns, by the way, saying have another soda. Hey, I very much appreciate that, kind sir. I sure the hell will. And I may even, after the soda, I may even probably grab a beer. I may. You guys have talked me into it a little bit, you know? Shit.
And I was on the ground in Pennsylvania, and I saw many things there. But do I accept the results? Of course I do. Do I agree with what happened? And I saw so much, you know, no one from either side of the aisle should want there to be any issues with election
She's
integrity
good with this shit.
in our country. We should all want our elections to be free and fair, and the rules and the laws
Well
to
said.
be followed.
Well said, but that's
I
not
think
real.
that question deserved a yes or no. And I think the length of your answer is an indication that you weren't prepared to answer yes. Have you heard the recording of President Trump on January 2nd, 2021, when he urged the Secretary of State of Georgia to, quote, find
Lay down if you're gonna be up
11,780
here.
votes and declare him the winner of that state?
No, I've heard about it through clips, but no, Senator, I've not heard it.
What was your reaction to President Trump making that call?
Oh, Steve, after this question, it is going to be the January 6th question. Yep. And they're going to use and say violence against cops. You'll see.
I would have to listen to the tape, Senator.
Well, the quote that I give you is exact. He said to the Georgia Secretary of State, find 11,780 votes.
Do you have the entire
Context.
context of
Yeah.
that call? I feel like it was much longer than that and may have
It
been
is.
taken out of
It
context.
was an hour long.
Right.
And you can certainly listen to it. I hope you will. Every American should.
This
As
fucking
a
guy.
former prosecutor, are you not concerned that the President of the United States called a state election official and asked him to find enough votes to change the results of the election?
Senator, I have not listened to the hour-long conversation, but it's my understanding that is not what he asked him to do.
You need to listen to it. Let me ask a third question. Do you believe that the January 6 rioters who've been convicted
Told you.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Stupid.
cap.
Emotional damage.
of violent assaults on police officers should be pardoned?
Senator, if confirmed as Attorney General of the United States, the pardons, of course, fall under the president. But if asked to look at those cases, I will look at each case and advise on a case-by-case basis,
Yeah, see? Boom.
just
Motherfucker.
as I did my entire career as a prosecutor.
Yep, seen that from Canada.
You also advise the president on pardons as part of your responsibilities. as
No, I
Attorney
hope that
General.
you're having a wonderful morning, Jess. I very much appreciate that. For you, it's early over there. It's like 3:35 in the morning. Shit, down under.
And so I'm asking you, do you believe that those who've been convicted of the January 6th riot, violent assaults on our police officers should be pardoned? That's a simple question.
So, Senator, I have not seen any of those files, of course. If confirmed and if asked to advise the president, I will look at each and every file. But let me be very clear in speaking to you. I condemn any violence on a law enforcement officer in this country.
Shit.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Got your answer.
Let me ask you about your work as a lobbyist for Ballard Partners. You did not list your current position
What's
as a
up, Blow
partner of the
Ball?
lobbying
Good to see you.
firm,
Good morning. Good
or the
morning.
work you've done for your Ballard partner clients, such as lobbying for the country of
I
Qatar
guess it would be late. I guess I would be theoretically late.
for
He didn't
$115,000 a
sleep.
month, and for corporate giants Amazon and Uber when you're asked about conflicts of interest. Why do you believe your work as a lobbyist does not constitute potential conflicts of interest?
Well, Senator, first, that was the amount my firm received. I believe multiple people represented the country
Steven.
of Qatar within my firm.
Stephanie, what's good?
My role, and I am very proud of the work that I did. It was a short time, and I wish it had been longer for Qatar, was anti-human trafficking efforts leading into the World Cup, which is something I'd like to talk about later, too. I was registered as FARA.
Good morning,
along
Jay.
with many members of my firm. That was the sole portion of my representation for Qatar. Now, if there are any conflicts with anyone I represented in private practice, I would consult with the career ethics officials within the department and make the appropriate decision. I would also like to point out to you, I don't believe that I would be the first Attorney General who has represented and advocated for businesses in their past.
Of course not. The question is whether you will recuse yourself
No kidding,
from any
AU.
case involving your Ballard clients. One of those clients
No,
was
she definitely picks her vocabulary and nomenclature very specifically. Just like, listen, when you're going to be in this type of role, you're not just an attorney general. You're a fucking politician. You have to be really good at this shit. Good morning, by the way, Lily. Good to see you up in here, by the way. Hopefully you're having a good
the
one.
GEO group, was it not?
Geo, yes.
That's
A
right,
private
Pablo.
prison company you lobbied for. It manages correctional institutions and detention facilities. The GEO group has faced criticism for safety violations, inadequate health care, and poor management. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is GEO's largest source of revenue. Under the Trump administration, GEO stands to earn hundreds of millions of dollars by detaining immigrants if there is this mass deportation.
Who would you have picked if you were Trump, Lil Paul? I'm just curious.
Would you sense any conflict of interest if you're asked to judge the performance of this government contractor?
Senator, I will consult with the career ethics officials within the Department of Justice and make the appropriate decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Graham.
Here comes
Thank you.
Graham. Oh boy.
Congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
forgot to say that John's family was from South Carolina.
The upstate, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Give you a pass on that.
Mm.
Manderson, by the way. So, listen, President Trump asked a bunch of us, who would you pick for Attorney General? How many of you got to ask that on our side? Probably didn't ask Dick, but he asked me.
What's
I
up,
said Pam
SNS?
Bondi.
Good morning.
That's like an easy decision.
Come on.
I couldn't
This
think
cat-
of anybody more qualified, that he knew, that he trusted. And it's okay to have, you were his lawyer, right?
Yes, sir. I represented.
What's up? Shit, we got Jay Goldbar up in the building. Shout out to my man, and sponsor of the channel, by the way. If, listen, if you need some left-handed tobacco, shit, that's the man right there.
him when they tried to impeach him the first time as part of White House Counsel Office of Special Counsel.
Being Trump's lawyer prepares you for many things.
In Minecraft,
So,
of course.
Yeah, you have a longstanding relationship with the president. He trusts you. That's a good thing. That's probably why President Kennedy picked his brother, Bobby Kennedy. I guess you can say no to your older brother. I'm sure he would. But this idea there's something bad is ridiculous. Who do you pick? You pick people you know. You pick people you trust, people that you're qualified. I'm glad he picked you. He knows you, he trusts you, and you're highly qualified. So the idea that there's something wrong with that is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's true.
So let's talk about the job you're about to have here.
He has
Do
a
you
blow
support,
job.
making certain drug
What's up, Dick?
cartels in Mexico foreign terrorist organization?
Senator, I personally went to Mexico. I personally dealt with these cartels when I was a state prosecutor, and they are a grave and violent threat
You
to our
consider
country. Yes, Senator.
Advising the president. Good, good. Now, when it comes to Crossfire Hurricane, are those days over if you're Attorney General?
Absolutely.
Okay. Lake and Riley, are you familiar with that case?
Sadly, I am, Senator Graham.
Do you know why the man who killed her was released from custody? He was paroled due to detention capacity at the Central Processing Center in El Paso, Texas. Now, that's not your call. You'll be DOJ. But do you agree with me that the statute regarding parole doesn't allow parole to be based on we don't have detention beds? There's nothing in that statute would authorize parole based on lack of capacity. Are you familiar with that statute?
Yes, sir, and that's frightening.
Yeah, well, it's frightening. Are you going to fix it?
I am going to do everything in my power to fix it
Wait,
if
are
confirmed as Attorney
You're going to
General.
advise President Trump we need more beds. Tom Homan's the guy's going to do this, but would you as Attorney General say we need more bed space so Lake and Riley never happens again?
Senator, my job, if confirmed as Attorney General, will be to keep America safe.
Do you think we
And
need
that
more
include-
detention space?
And that includes having enough space for violent criminals, for people that should not be in
Brother
this
Lee,
country
good morning.
who have committed violent crimes.
To
And
the
Lake and
public.
Riley is
Big morning this morning.
one of many.
Yeah, but at 41,000 beds in this country to detain people, we got like millions of people here illegally. We let this dude go because we didn't have any place to put him. I hope those days are over. And if Tom, you're listening out there, I hope you'll create enough detention space to make sure we don't find this dilemma ever again. Do you think we're at war? And if so, who with?
Oh, Senator, we're at war on so many fronts.
Are we at war with ISIS?
Of course, we're at war with ISIS.
They're at war with us. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely,
Do
Senator.
you think since our withdrawal from Afghanistan, threats to our homeland have gone up from ISIS?
Yes.
Okay, March 7th, 2024, General Corella. I assess ISIS-K retains the capability and will to attack the U.S. and Western interests abroad in as little as 6 months with little or no warning. That's March of 2024. General McKenzie, ISIS-K has a strong desire to attack the United States after it began to grow in Afghanistan following U.S. exit in August 2021. He also stated the threat to ISIS-K from ISIS-K is growing. Major General Quantock, the U.S. remains target
Twisting my
number one
arm,
for
Steve.
ISIS-K. Do you agree with that?
Senator, I don't have my security clearance, but from everything I've read and heard, ISIS is one of the greatest threats.
Okay, well, when you get your security clearance,
No, there was
you're going to
two of
find
them
out
so
these
far.
people are coming after us and they want to kill us.
Two so far.
So I would like to have a strategy to deal with the ISIS threat. That's
Not really, you know what I mean? But you're going to hear the Dems be called out here in a minute. That what they're doing is they're allowing essentially the Republicans to speak first and then the Democrats. That's what I heard anyways. That's what I heard from the speaker, the House speaker or the whatever speaker of whatever this is, Congress or whatever.
beyond just the law enforcement model. Does that make sense to you that we should use every tool in the toolbox?
Senator, that includes
Or
wrapping
Senate.
in our state and local officials too, and better cooperation throughout our country and our world.
I totally agree. Do you support reauthorizing FISA in 2025?
Senator, I believe 702 is up in 2026.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry,
believe it's
26.
2026. And
That was the way it was put, by the way. That was the way it was put. That's the way I understood it, but it still isn't. We saw the first two, you know. But anyways, that's besides the point. Pitbull sending in one gifted membership out to you guys. Thank you for that, kind sir. I very much appreciate you and your patronage to the channel, man. It helps out immensely over there from England, man. Very much appreciate you.
we will closely be looking at that. FISA is a very
Do you
important
agree
tool.
that the
And get a
the
free membership. I like that.
702 provides important intel gathering capability to protect our nation?
Extremely important.
Okay.
They did try
So,
that I got you bullshit.
Pam, you're about to
They tried.
step into a job that's one of the most important jobs in any democracy. Let's go back to pardons. If I'm a lawyer for somebody in jail, would you promise to listen to the application and read it before you made a decision?
Yes.
Here you go, Papa
No matter
Penguin.
who you are. Good. That's the way it works. People want to bargain with you up here. Will you do this? Will you do that? All I ask you to do is call
Can
it
you
as you
stop?
see it. Hire good, competent people and give the president the best legal advice you can. Run the Department of Justice in a manner that other people would want to join it one day. Growing up, I had a fondness for the FBI. I watched the show, I think it's every Sunday, wanted to be an FBI agent. Right now, the FBI needs an image overhaul. So you have a real task ahead of you in two areas: to restore
Brother
trust
Dirty, good
to
morning,
many
kind sir.
Americans who have lost trust in the Department of Justice, and to make sure that this country is safe from drug cartels that are killing 3,000 Americans every 2 weeks for money,
For
to
money.
go after these people and to protect our homeland that's under siege. I think you're the perfect pick
Brother
at one
Martin,
of the
good
most
morning.
dangerous times in American history, and I look forward to supporting you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman. Welcome, Ms. Bondi.
Thank you, Senator. And thank you for meeting with me. I greatly appreciate that.
It was a pleasure. Ms. Bondi, you were a courtroom prosecutor for a great many years. As a courtroom prosecutor, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
And you went on to be Florida's Attorney General. As Florida's Attorney General, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
As Florida's Attorney General, you were responsible for hiring into the Florida Department of Attorney General, correct?
Enemies list.
Senator, the Attorney General's office in Florida is the third largest in the state, approximately 1,400 employees and approximately 400 lawyers. Only
Lawyers.
California and Texas are our bigger offices.
And you were
So,
responsible
yes.
for hiring into that office while you were Attorney General?
Yes.
Would you
Senator.
have hired someone into the Florida Attorney General's office who you knew had an enemies list?
Senator, to cut to the chase, you're clearly talking about Kash Patel. I don't believe he has an enemies list. He made a quote on TV, which I have not heard. I saw your sign, or Senator Durbin's sign about Kash, but I know that Kash
You know what?
Patel.
It actually still is. There, where I lived, so where I was born and raised, Dirty Knobs, I was 30 minutes away from those fires. Where I was born and raised, where I was brought home. So, you know, I was good. And then where I moved from in California, I was pretty much way out of the fire.
Has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor.
That's right, Steve. Easy.
He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense.
What's up, Em? Good
I have
morning.
known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job. You'll have the ability to question Mr. Patel.
And I'm
When-
questioning you
when
right
you
now
do.
about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
Thank you. The FBI's, what is the FBI's role in national security and
playground, cuh.
counterterrorism, and how important is that role?
You know, Senator, I believe now more than ever, Counterterrorism is so important and vital in our country.
Yeah, that's right. All the ops are dead.
We are facing such incredible threats here and abroad. If I'm sure many of you saw former FBI Director Wray's interview on 60 Minutes, he talked about the threats that, frankly, again, I don't have my security clearance,
Yeah,
but the
but
threats
given that-
facing us, Senator, from China right now that are so great.
Given
The
that-
sleeper cells within our country.
Given that importance, is it responsible to call for shutting down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work? And will you, as Attorney General, impede or shut down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work? Two
Senator,
questions.
I believe that national security is vital right now for our country on so many fronts. I could continue to
And
discuss
the
many
FBI's
others.
role in that,
And the FBI plays a
That's
vital
right,
role
Brother
in
Steve.
counterterrorism
facts.
which you
throughout
will
our
or will not
world.
shut down.
I will look at each agency. I have no
You can never escape out of that shit. It's just, once you're born in that, it's like that shit is going to be stuck with you for life. It's just the way it is.
intention of shutting anything down right now, Senator. I am not in that office yet. And if confirmed, I will look at each individual agency and how it should be managed. But counterterrorism right now in our world is vital.
You have said that.
you're gonna be up here, lay down.
Department of Justice
Lay down.
prosecutors will be prosecuted
Damn cat.
in the Trump administration. What Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted and why?
I said that on TV. I said prosecutors will be prosecuted, to finish the quote, if bad. Investigators will be investigated. We all take an oath, Senator, to
100%,
uphold the
Steve.
law. None of us are above the law. Let me give you a really good example of a bad lawyer within the Justice Department, a guy named Klein Smith, who altered a FISA warrant, one of the most important things we can do in this country. So will everyone be held to an equal, fair system of justice if I am the next Attorney General? Absolutely. And no one is above the law.
Under what
Period.
circumstances will you prosecute journalists for what they write?
What?
I believe in the freedom of speech. Only if anyone commits a crime.
What kind of question was
It's
that?
pretty basic, Senator, with anything, with any victim. And this goes back to my entire
All these
career.
weird hypotheticals always, dude. It's just so fucking strange how this shit works. If this were to happen, how would you respond? If this were to happen, then what? It's always hypotheticals on everything.
For 18 years as a prosecutor and then 8 years as Florida's Attorney General. You find the facts of the case, you apply the law in good faith, and you treat everyone fairly.
And it would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime. It's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization.
Why is he
that we-
looking like that? Why is he doing that? So fucking strange.
seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him, actually starting back in 2016. They targeted his campaign. They have launched countless investigations against him. That will not be the case if I am Attorney General. I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country. Senator, we've got to bring this country back together. We've got to move forward or we're going to lose our country.
Yeah, I think the
Shit.
concern is
Oh,
that
shit! Oh, shit!
Good job answering that.
weaponization of the Justice Department may well occur under your tenure. And we want to make sure that that's not the case, that you remain independent, that you
Brother
remain
Hooked Dog, good
able
morning,
to
good
and
morning.
willing to tell the
Oh.
president no when
That's a fucking bummer right there. He's on fucking jury duty time. Miserable. Miserable. You know what's so funny? Nah. Well, I'll keep that shit to myself. But hey, have fun with jury duty. You know what I mean?
And that's necessary to protect the Constitution and the integrity of the department. So that's where I'm asking these questions. We talked in the meeting about the contacts policy that has prevailed really since Senator Hatch sat in that chair and demanded it of the Clinton Justice Department through all the administration since then, with the exception of a brief period under Attorney General Gonzalez, which he corrected and which did not end well for him. There has been a contacts policy that limits contacts between the White House and the Department of Justice to a very few senior officials on each side. In your role as Attorney General, if you are confirmed, will you maintain, defend, and enforce that longstanding contacts policy?
Man, I very much appreciate that, Steve Easy. That's one of the biggest compliments I can get right there. So Steve Easy says, our leftist friends spend too much time on the mainstream media and left-wing safe spaces. It's correct. They need to pay more attention to independent journalists on YouTube like OG Mike. Hey, man, that's a humongous W. Thank you so much for, I very much appreciate that comment. Because it's true. It's true. A lot of people are too stuck on the mainstream where they're getting the actual secondhand knowledge from someone else. And who's to say that they're going to skew the fucking, the whole ordeal, which people do. People have a political agenda, and I don't want to hear it from anybody. I want to hear the source. You know what I mean? I want to hear what then the media is going to talk about. And then I saw it for myself, But I very much appreciate that, kind sir.
Senator, yes, I will meet with White House counsel and I will meet with the appropriate officials and
Lappy, good morning.
follow the contacts policy.
Yes, big day.
My time
Big
has
day.
expired. Thank you, Ms. Bondi.
Senator Cornyn.
Ms. Bondi, your testimony is music to my ears.
Thank you.
One of the things that I have been most concerned about over certainly the last 4 years and extending back during President Trump's administration is the weaponization and politicalization of the Department of Justice, which together with the FBI is one of the most important institutions in this country. If people don't trust that their elected officials will faithfully enforce the
Yo,
law.
Buchikon up in the building. Hey, appreciate you for being up in here. Good morning, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning. And make sure you guys, by the way, this goes out for everybody that's just tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. And it's free, by the way. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It is also free. So I appreciate you guys. I don't ask you guys to spend no money. Just hit that like
Under the
button.
law. They've lost faith in America. And that disturbs me greatly. And I know it does you too, based on what you said. So I'm delighted to hear you say what you have said. But I want to talk about some specific topics.
Martin, you're right.
First, the border. I believe President Biden and Vice President Harris had presided over one of the biggest humanitarian and public safety disasters in American history. Senator Cruz and I represent a state with 1,200 miles of common border with America. But as you pointed out with fentanyl, what happens at the border doesn't stay at the border. Fentanyl poisoning is the
Of course they are,
most
Octane.
common cause of death.
That's the whole thing, man. Do you know how much patience it takes? Especially as someone that is, for me, most people here know my political stance. I'm a staunch conservative. I'm an isolationist. I say fuck everyone but the US. That's just me. You know what I mean? But when you're doing this kind of stuff, you have to allow the other side to speak, especially when you're in the media. And the reason why is if I truly believe that their own mouthpieces get them fucked up. And I like being able to catch that shit. You know what I mean? It's holding these people accountable. So, you know what I mean? Of course, there's tons of lies from every politician, and so you have to sit there and just listen to the prattle. It's essentially lawyer prattle. That's what it is. They're a whole bunch of lawyers up in there fucking prattling, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating for damn sure. But anyways,
death
back
of
to
young
this.
people between the
Oh
age of
shit!
18 and
Hold up, we got my boy Wolfheim sending in another 27. I very much appreciate that Swedish money. You know what I mean? Go get that jazz tobacco. That's a fact, brother. I very much appreciate that, kind sir. Thank you for your contribution. That's my man.
45. We know where it comes from. The precursors come from China. They go to the cartels, they mix them up, make them look like innocuous pills, and young people take them and die. It's just that simple and that tragic. So there's just so much that we could talk about with regard to the border, but you know, I know people voted for President Trump in large part because of his promise to restore security at the border. Will you do everything within your power as Attorney General to enforce the laws on the book, including the President's executive orders, which I anticipate he will be
I
signing
appreciate that, Lily.
on
Thank you for
January the
that.
20th when he is sworn in, and help do everything you can and the Department of Justice can is to restore security to our southern border?
Yes, Senator, absolutely.
One example is, of course, if you come here to the from anywhere in the country and you show up at the border
Be good,
under the
Lily.
Biden and
Appreciate
Harris
it.
administration
Be safe
policies,
out there.
you'll simply be released into the interior of the country, either to await a trial date, which may never occur due to the enormous backlog, or you will simply be paroled. And I know parole has a special connotation in the criminal law, but in this context, as you know, it's designed to be administered on a case-by-case basis. Yet President Biden and Vice President Harris had granted parole, that is, released people into the United States on a categorical basis, or anybody who shows up, or because they don't have the detention facilities to keep them. So do you believe Lake and Riley would be alive today if President Biden and Vice President Harris had enforced the law and secured the border?
Senator, he should not have been in our country. And then Lake and Riley would have been alive. And I don't think it's just Lake and Riley. There are so many victims throughout our country. Not only that, we're all familiar with the violent gangs who are coming into our country, walking into our country freely through the open border. The cartels, the gangs, Venezuela's let people out of their prisons. It's been reported. I don't have the security clearance yet to see what's happening, but I know, we all know, there are criminals throughout our country, and it is my commitment to you on both sides of the aisle that I will do everything in my power with the agencies that fall under me if I am confirmed to make America safe again. We have to do that, Senator.
Well, many of us, of course, see classified information on the Intelligence Committee or just generally in our duties as a senator. And so you're not going to feel any better about the...
We like the domestic ones. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding.
blinking lights, the danger that
That shit is funny.
Director Wray has talked about. In my closing moments here, I want to revisit an issue that
No
is
kidding,
of
Hug Dog.
particular importance. 60% of the president's daily brief, which is the intelligence brief that the Director of National Intelligence and the CIA Director
Get some rest,
deliver to
brother
the
SNS. I
president,
see you.
comes from Section 702
Hank,
of the
good
Foreign
morning.
Intelligence Surveillance Act. I've called this the most important law that most people have never heard of. I know you have, and you're familiar with it, but I want to ask you a few questions about that. It's been called the crown jewel of U.S. intelligence. And of course, it cannot be legally used to spy on American citizens. And if it is, it ought to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I know you would agree with that. But there have been some, as you know, and as you pointed out to Senator Graham, we have a temporary extension of the existing authorization for the use of the intelligence community to target foreign threats to our national security that expires in 2026. And I'd like you just to
That is
confirm
true,
here on
Steve.
the record that you will enforce that law and you can support the law as it is written.
Senator, I haven't read the entire 702 in front of you, but I will commit to
Hey, Bob. I would too. Shit. You know what I mean? Come on. You saying you wouldn't? Hell yeah.
reading that and doing everything I can to keep America safe again.
Of course you will. So Director Ratliff, who's going to be, I'm going to go to his hearing on for CIA director. Of course, he was confirmed as Director of National Intelligence. Some have argued that in order to query or look at lawfully collected FISA 702
Yo, we
product,
got Joker up in here. Man, good to see you in here. He says, "What's up, Mike and everyone? Much love and respect. Just got home from the hospital from my motorcycle accident yesterday. Damn. Well, I'm glad that you were able to be released. From, I guess it was a day hold. So I'm glad about that. I saw the pictures, dude, and that was fucking brutal. So I'm glad that you're still with us, bro. Seriously, you're blessed that you made it. That you're alive. So you can always get another motorcycle. You know what I mean? Can't get another you. So I very much appreciate you. And I hope you're not in too much pain.
that you need to get a warrant requirement in order to show probable cause that a crime, including espionage, perhaps has been committed. But Director Ratcliffe has written that a warrant requirement may not achieve its intended objectives. And
Chris
could
Lestrange up in here from South Africa, my man. Appreciate you for hanging out with us.
hinder national
Good afternoon to
security
you.
efforts. Do you share Director Ratcliffe's concerns?
I would read his memo and I will speak to you after I read his memo, Senator.
Well, we need to have I
Warland,
hope-
it's unreal how, the first senator that spoke, the dude looked like he was legitimately 98. Like, what is going on, dude? Like, we need to have a, these guys have been in for fucking ever, like, shit.
you and I can continue this conversation.
Once in
after
government,
this
always in
because,
government, huh?
I think there's a lot of misinformation with regard to how Section 702 works. I'm happen to be one of the members of the Senate Intelligence Committee. We read that product on a regular basis, and it is not used to spy on American people. I think what's fundamentally missing is a lack of trust in the intelligence community,
Joker.
including the
Good.
FBI, which I'm hoping you and Mr. Patel can restore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a good meeting this week. Thank you for that. And I appreciated your priorities on human trafficking that you mentioned today, that work, as well as fentanyl and some of your other prosecution experience. We had some similar backgrounds in doing that. And I want to talk about, first of all, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota. One of the
Yeah,
premier
no kidding,
offices in
Hardwire.
the country. This office has been instrumental in
Yo, brother
combating-
Hank sending in a Canadian dollar. I appreciate you, kind sir. Thank you for your contribution, man. Appreciate you,
violent
dog.
crime, dismantling street gangs, taking fentanyl off our streets, enforcing civil rights laws after George Floyd's murder, ensuring victims of fraud get justice. Do you agree that it should be a priority to support U.S. attorneys, frontline prosecutors, and case agents who work hard every single day on our streets?
Senator, I think that is one of the most important things in our country right now. And there are so many good men and women within the Justice Department throughout
It's
our
so funny. Each senator needs to fucking speak. Like, holy fuck, man. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn. Just confirm the motherfucking woman already. Jesus.
country, as well as all the law enforcement agencies. Yes, they work very hard and they will be supported.
I'm concerned about some of the proposals that could put cuts in the COPS program, burn JAG programs. I know you're familiar with those. Senator Murkowski and I lead the COPS reauthorization
Be good out there, Warland.
bill. Just will you commit to continue to support those programs?
Senator, I will read everything about those programs because that is a top priority of mine, and I would love to meet with you on that and Senator Murkowski to support law enforcement and those programs.
Thank you. Independence from political interference is vital to the legitimacy and success of the Department of Justice. I was honestly troubled by some of the answers to Senator Durbin's questions. We will continue that discussion, I'm sure, on the committee about the election.
No, that issue alone is way bigger than her. You know, absolutely. But you can definitely help at the source, which is the border.
But I want to focus on the investigation, charging decisions. As a prosecutor, I'm sure you had this experience. I would get calls from people, hey, that's just a kid, give him a break. And I remember one answer I gave was, he's 40 years old, he's not a kid. But that kind of
Jesus.
interference is attempted.
When a 40-year-old man, oh my goodness. Only in the Senate can this fucking be, calling a 40-year-old person a kid, really. I mean, shit. That tells you how old that room is. That room is fucking old.
All the time. And one of my concerns here, whether it's a call from a friend, a corporate lobbyist, a White House, it has been very clear that the attorney generals of both parties have established clear policies to ensure the White House doesn't tamper with criminal investigations and prosecutions. At Attorney General Mike McCasey's hearing, he made clear that any attempt by the White House, and these are the words, to interfere with the case is not to be countenanced. Any call to a line assistant or to a United States attorney from a political person relating to a case is to be cut and curtailed. Do you agree with this statement?
Hook Dog, I think you got it from Jess.
Senator, yes, I believe that the Justice Department must be independent and must act independently. The number one job is to enforce the law fairly and even-handedly, and that's what will be done if I am confirmed as the Attorney General.
So you will provide an insurance to every member of this committee that the Justice Department will only follow the facts and the law, and the White House will play no role in cases investigated or brought?
Senator, it will be my job, if confirmed as Attorney General, to make those decisions. Politics will not play a part. I've demonstrated that my entire career as a prosecutor, as Attorney General, and I will continue to do that if you confirm me as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America.
And an earlier question, with some of my colleagues talked about China and the risk, yet you have a nominee from this incoming administration, Kash Patel, the pick to head the FBI, have serious concerns about him, has referred to the FBI's Intel Division, which is responsible for protecting us from foreign adversaries like China, as, quote, the biggest problem the FBI has had. And he said that he wants to, quote, break that component out of the FBI. Do you agree?
Hold people accountable.
I have not seen those comments from Mr. Patel. I would review them, but we have to do everything we can to protect our country. Again, Mr. Patel would fall under me and the Department of Justice, and I will ensure that all laws are followed, and so will he.
Okay. There are many decisions made by the FBI director, having seen a number of them do their work, that can be made. While I agree you would be the boss of Kash Patel, I'm not sure that you would be able to intervene with every decision or position that he had or know what he's doing. So let's continue. Do you agree it is a duty of the Justice Department to defend the laws Congress passes?
Absolutely.
And will you
Be good, Hook Dog.
Even when the president...
Man, go have fun with jury duty, man. That shit sucks.
...may disagree with an act campaigned against its passage or called for its repeal. President Reagan's AG, William French Smith, said the department policy was the department...
Hey, Joker, you want to know what's funny? I still text back and forth and stay in contact with a few of the chick nurses that took care of me while I was in the hospital. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I mean, I was in that bitch for 28 days. So I made connections with these people. Yeah,
and has the duty to defend an act of Congress whenever a reasonable argument can be made in its support. So I'm specifically referring to the 2022 law that I long led, that we passed to empower Medicare to negotiate drug prices, major savings for seniors. Will you commit to defend the law against the lawsuits from Big Pharma?
Senator, I was involved in big pharma cases when I was Attorney General of the state of Florida, and I will commit to protect the laws of the United States of America.
Okay, thank you. That would also, same question, with the Supreme Court is going to be hearing a challenge to the Affordable Care Act's coverage of preventative services. And despite the fact that you twice joined suits to have the entire Affordable Care Act invalidated, will you commit to defending this law?
Yeah, I believe this is very different. It's a very isolated, it's different. It's not the entire Affordable Care Act, but I will, it's pending litigation, of course, within the department.
Since the 1990s, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act has protected patients, providers, and facilities that provide reproductive health services. Will you commit to continuing to enforce the FACE Act to address violence and threats against those providing reproductive health care services?
Senator, the FACE Act not only protects abortion clinics, but it also protects pregnancy centers and people going for counseling. The law should be applied even-handedly. Yes, Senator.
So you'll uphold the
Man, just fucking confirm her already.
enforcement of that law?
I'll uphold the enforcement of the law, Senator.
Okay, and I will ask my antitrust questions in the next round. We had a good
Next
discussion about that, and I
round?
do appreciate the nominee that has been
Another
put in place,
round?
for the antitrust division.
Oh,
and there's
hell no.
Incredibly important work
Hell
that
no.
has to be done in that division. So,
We ain't doing
It's
it.
remarkable. Thank you.
thank you.
I thank all of my colleagues for abiding by the 7-minute rule. Before I call on Senator Lee, I
Oh,
want
hell
everybody
no.
to
I'm
plan.
not listening to them ramble on again. There's no way. Okay, let's hear from Ted Cruz.
Question, so let me get on to,
Would you like to?
I do have
I'd love
questions
to
for the
respond.
second round.
You'll have a second round. Would you like to speak before I call on Senator Cruz?
God damn, what the fuck is wrong with his voice? It sounds like he's got a mix of like reverb and like a whole ass voice changer, like, and bad internet. You know, like what the fuck is happening here, dude?
Would you like to?
I do have
I'd love to
questions for the second round.
You'll have a second round. Would you like to speak?
I'm gonna
before I
get
call
married
on
a
Senator
second round.
Cruz?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jesus
General Bondi,
Christ.
welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
your long
Be
career in
safe out
public
there, brother
service, and
Steve.
thank you for
Drive
your
safe. Ride safe out there.
willingness to take on this incredibly important
Hey, Steve, let me know when you get there too, by the way. I would appreciate that.
office.
Let me know you're alive.
You know, I have to say, I don't know that there is a more important position in this new administration than the position to which you have been nominated, Attorney General of the United States. I thought the exchange just a moment ago with Senator Hirono was illustrative. She asked you how you would respond
And
if the
low
president
battery.
asked you to target his political enemies. It's rather striking because it's not a hypothetical. It has happened over the last 4 years. And I think perhaps the most tragic legacy of the Biden-Harris administration has
Wow,
been the
news
politicization.
just hit. It finally fucking happened. News just hit that Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire. That's humongous fucking news. If you can do me a favor, if they are speaking on releases of hostages, please drop that in the comments while we still continue to watch this. Please let me know if how many, it's a 2-day, okay, it's a ceasefire for 2 days. What do you mean it's not Ukraine? I know you're not talking about Ukraine. Yeah. All right.
And the weaponization
Let me know about
of
the
United
hostages.
States Department of Justice. And we don't need to ask hypothetically because Joe Biden publicly mused and allowed the New York Times to report it, calling on Merrick Garland. Why will he not
Shit.
prosecute
I'm in
Trump
like a serious ass conversation and shit.
more quickly? And Merrick Garland, sadly, he sat in that chair and promised to be apolitical, and he broke that promise almost the instant he walked into the Department of Justice.
It's totaled, Bob.
If you look on the west pediment of the Supreme Court of the United States, just above the entrance, there's a simple yet profound four-word phrase, equal justice under law.
Wow. CNN is reporting 33 hostages are to be released on Sunday. But what about the rest? Are they not alive? 33 is a lot of hostages, man. Been since October 7th? Shit.
Law. We have seen over the last 4 years a Department of Justice that systematically targeted the political opponents of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Oh, they're doing
And
it
that
in
systematic-
okay, so they're doing them in batches. Okay, I understand. So they're doing batches.
Protected his friends and allies. And it is tragic to see the loss of confidence in the American people, in the Department of Justice, and in the FBI. I would note, I don't think there's an institution in America who has lost more respect from the American people than the FBI has in the last 4 years. That is a grotesque violation of the obligation of the Department of Justice and the FBI. So I want to start with just a very simple question. If you are confirmed as Attorney General, will you pledge to fairly and faithfully uphold the law regardless of party?
So help me God.
Amen.
Great answer.
Look, and I want to be clear for folks at home. I don't want a Republican Department of Justice. I don't want a Democrat Department of Justice. I want a Department of Justice that
Right.
follows the damn law.
Exactly. Yep.
And I think the American people do too. That shouldn't be too
Yep.
much
The
to
American people,
expect.
that's exactly what the American people do want. That's a perfect example of someone that needs to be exactly down the middle on this shit. Like you're not picking any shit side. You're not taking nothing, no influence, no outside entities, none of that shit. Just follow the fucking law. It's okay to have no bias in that shit. It's okay. And that's what the American people, I think, as a general consensus, do want.
Now,
You still did make the show, bro. I very
I'm
much
grateful
appreciate you, dog. I'm
President
just glad
Trump
you're
for
alive.
nominating you. I think on any objective level, you're
Yo,
clearly
we got Brother Blair up in the BUD. I always appreciate you, my
clearly
man.
qualified
Good morning.
for this position. You have been a prosecutor for decades. You have been the elected Attorney General of the state of Florida, the third largest state in America, for 8 years. Let me ask you, in terms of your
Yeah, it's totaled Wolfheim. It's gone.
practice, how many criminal cases over the course of your career have you personally handled?
Handled thousands.
How many of those were before a jury?
Hundreds. I don't want to overstate, but hundreds. I was in a courtroom for many years. I tried 4 when I was an intern, jury trials. I think you had to try at least 20 in misdemeanor before you went to felony. Then you were in court every day. And I was also lead trial attorney for many years, trying many cases. So,
And how many of those cases would have been before a judge?
hundreds and hundreds as well, but hundreds before a jury, I would assume.
And as Attorney General of Florida, how many lawyers did you supervise roughly?
Approximately 400, Senator.
God damn.
Now, I also want to clarify something during the
Supervised 400 fucking lawyers? Holy shit.
course of this hearing. Several Democrat senators
God
have
damn.
referred to you as President Trump's, quote, personal lawyer. Now I don't believe that is an accurate characterization. As I understand it, you represented President Trump as a White House special advisor during his first impeachment trial. Is that correct?
Within Office of White House Counsel, yes, Senator.
And is working within the White House counsel's office different than representing Donald J. Trump individually as his personal lawyer?
Absolutely.
How's it different?
You're working for the government. You're working for the office of White House counsel. You're not representing him in his personal capacity.
And so you have not represented him in his business affairs, in his personal life, or in any of the criminal trials he has faced.
No, Senator.
And you know, when it comes to weaponization, it's worth noting that in more than 2 centuries of our nation's history, no president had previously been indicted. No president had previously been
1000% hardwire. She sure is. Facts. And Brother Dean up in the building. Shout out to my man out there in Israel. I always appreciate you coming and hanging out with us and hearing a little bit of our, United States politics.
Until the Biden-Harris White House came along. And in the last 4 years, we've seen Donald Trump indicted and prosecuted not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 separate times.
And 2 assassination attempts, Senator.
I have to say, Javert from Les Mis would be chagrined at the efforts of Democrats to do anything possible to take him down. And I believe the real target in this was not President Trump, but it was the American people, that these prosecutions were brought because partisan prosecutors were terrified that the American people would do exactly what they did in November of 2024 and vote to reelect.
You can say anything else you want, but you can't say she's unqualified.
Donald J. Trump.
By 77.3% million Americans, 77.3 million Americans.
Will you commit
Yes, that is true, Blair.
every day?
Totally. 100%. He's definitely giving this questions basically a podium and a platform for her to be able to gloat about her past, which is good. We need to hear about her past, though. Not everything needs to be some bullshit,
As Attorney General, to follow the law, to follow the Constitution, to uphold the rule of law without favor and without regard to the partisan position of any criminal defendant.
Yes, Senator.
That's what we should all expect from an Attorney General. Thank you.
We'll now recess for 30-minute lunch break.
Hell no. Let's see if let's see here. Confirmation hearing.
States is doing to help their societies. We do.
Secretary of State. I want to hear the ending. Was that the ending? Oh shit. They're going to be just coming back on here in a minute. That's super sus.
2000.
Okay, I do want to hear this real quick. This is on the live feed right this second, so I definitely want to hear this. So sorry if you guys, that's going to be it for that portion. I believe that we're going to have to wait another round, and then she's going to be confirmed. Just so everybody knows, she's definitely going to be confirmed. It's just the way of the road. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out for everybody that wants to check out a little bit of what's happening with the ceasefire agreement with Hamas and Israel. So let's go ahead and check this out.
Come upon an agreement, a ceasefire deal. I want to bring up this. This is a live picture out of a hostage rally. I do believe this is over in Israel. And we have seen many of these hostages rallies over the last several months. And now it does seem we are on the precipice of more of these hostages being released by Hamas that are being held in the Gaza Strip. This is a live picture out of Tel Aviv in Israel. But I do want to bring into the conversation someone who has provided a lot of insight as we have been monitoring these situations. So joining us now is Alex Trayman, the CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of the Jewish News Syndicate. Alex, thanks so much for joining us on such short notice.
Thanks for having me.
So I have to start with just your reaction. I mean, this has been really a long time coming. There have been so many of these negotiations that have been brought to the table. They haven't come to fruition.
Unfortunately, you see where it's nonstop trying to dismantle and say how someone's unqualified. So I understand when you keep getting attacked that way, you have to respond like, hey, motherfuckers, I really am about my shit. You know what I mean?
So what are your thoughts when you hear that this one may pan out?
Well, first of all, remember that this is a deal being signed between a sovereign state and a terror organization that kidnapped 250 people. And and murdered 1,200 and injured thousands of others on October 7th to start this war. So as far as Israelis are concerned, any agreement made by Hamas is not really worth the paper that it's written on until, of course, Hamas does deliver the living and dead hostages back to Israel. So first things first is we have to see if Hamas will make good on its pledge to return the hostages.
Kind of going off
Yep.
of that point that you
It
just
is on them now to go ahead and hand that shit over, right?
mentioned, and the fact that, I mean, this has been something that we have been working to report on for months. It hasn't really panned out the way it was hoped for. And given this track record that we have seen from Hamas in the past, what kind of optimism do you feel at this moment? I mean, there is optimism, but at the same time, given the track record of what we've seen so far, what are your thoughts? How soon could we see if this is actually something that is going to have that optimistic outlook?
Right. Well, there's a lot of skepticism about this deal inside Israel for numerous reasons. First of all, that the deal is one where even the phase one takes place over a period of 6 weeks, and there's a slow drip of a return of hostages. And even after phase one, then phase two and phase three will be negotiated, and there will still be hostages left inside Gaza. So this is not a deal in which come Sunday morning, for example, all of a sudden all of the living hostages are returned to Israel, and then maybe in a phase two, all of the bodies of killed hostages would be returned.
So it is going to be in phases, like we said, like what Papa Penguin said in the chat.
This is a deal in which there's a drip, and which there's still a fear that even if Hamas
Absolutely, brother Papa, be safe out there.
delivers
Appreciate you
on
always.
the terms in phase one, that there would still be hostages left behind, meaning that you still have a hostage crisis. On the other hand, there's also major concerns about what Israel is giving up
Good morning, Mr.
in
Mister.
return for the hostages. In terms of just trading prisoners, Israel giving up as many as 30 Palestinian prisoners, and that means individuals that have been convicted, many of them of first-degree murder and some of them of attempted murder. 30-1 for male hostages, 50-1 for female hostages. So the question is, what will happen for these terrorists that go back into society? Will they kill murderous terror acts in the future, commit murderous terror acts the same way Yahya Sinwar was a prisoner who was released from prison in a 1,000-1 deal to get back soldier Gilad Shalit back in 2011. And Yahya Sinwar went on to become the mastermind of the October 7th attack. So how many Israelis might get killed as a result of letting these terrorists back on the loose? And then there's also the idea of Israeli withdrawals from key strategic positions inside the Gaza Strip, and a major fear that Hamas is reorganizing in order to either keep up the fight against Israel or prepare for another attack on the likes or scale of an October 7th.
So once again, this is that live picture out of Tel Aviv. Alex, I want to go back to a point that you made within that last answer, because I think it's key as we explain to our viewers really what we may be seeing throughout the next several days, mentioning the fact that this deal, it comes in 3 phases. So if you can just explain what each of those phases mean, what they're going to entail, when we may see each of them being enacted.
So the phase one, it takes place over a period of 42 days, and Hamas is supposed to release 33 hostages. It's not clear or has not been reported what percentage.
Confirmed 33, like Papa Penguin said.
Percentage of those hostages are alive. So this could be part of a psychological warfare game where Israel thinks that from the beginning in the 6-week period, that's going to get 33 living hostages back, and it may get back only 20 living hostages and 13 dead bodies or something along those lines. After the first round of phase is completed, then there will be the second phase in which Israel will pull back further. More hostages, including like men, especially soldiers and men of soldiers' age, like agile young adults, would be returned in the second phase. And at that point also will be negotiated what number of prisoners will be released in exchange for them. And then in a third phase would be one in which Israel would pull back even further. All along these phases, there would be additional amounts of humanitarian aid delivered into Gaza Strip. And all this also raises the question of the war aims, which are to A, to get back all of the hostages, and B, to eliminate Hamas not only as a military threat, but also as a political entity. If you're ramping up the amount of humanitarian aid going into Gaza, does that secure Hamas's position as the distributor of humanitarian aid and strengthening it as the political entity inside Gaza? So there's still a lot of questions, and we still have to hear some of the details about how each of these phases is going to work.
All right, Alex. So I do want to
Bam.
bring into the conversation now also here with Live Now from Fox, Josh Breslow, who has been key in following all of these developments. He is joining us live right now from our newsroom. Josh, I have Alex Trayman on with us.
A couple of things. First of all, congratulations on the nomination.
They cut it. Congratulations.
Number two, a couple of Vermont
On the
things
nomination. Okay,
we
so
talked about.
we need to
We're
skip
gonna have a
ahead
new-
real quick.
an
See if this is live right now.
One is the
No,
fall.
she's going to be confirmed. I'm not going to sit here and listen to more of this prattle. We already know what's going to happen here. You guys can guarantee it. And if she isn't, you guys will see it immediately. I promise that. All right, guys. I very much appreciate you guys for your love and support today. Listen, man, I'm very honored by the Breakfast Club, for real. I mean, you guys could be anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be right here with me. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, stick around because we're going to be rating Jess White. She's live right now, so let's go ahead and show her some love. And yeah, man, go ahead and let her know that we're rating her. So with that being said, thank you so much again. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. It helps out the show immensely. And listen, if you guys are at all interested, have an Instagram, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV. This is like better than my phone number. You know what I mean? This is where I correspond with everybody. If you guys are new, by the way, we have the Discord in the link in the description of this video right now. So you go ahead and hit that. And that's where we'll be hanging out. So with that being said, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I have a couple of more shows I'm going to be attending today. I have the Diamond Effect tonight at 7 p.m. CST, but at 5:30 p.m. CST, my time, right? I'll be live on the Unaffiliated, which is like a motorcycle kind of channel, like not just motorcycles, but like motorcycle club culture kind of stuff. But it's like really a biker talk channel. It's like really just specifically bikers. So anyways, I'll be making an appearance on there. And yeah, so we got a couple more to do today. So with that being said, we'll see you guys in a little bit. And of course, you know, we'll see the Breakfast Club tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. With that being said, God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides onto his rest.